please welcome to the stage someone who describes herself as a serial experience seeker, raised in China, born in Australia, Ashley Carroll. Ashley, join us, please. A passionate information sponge, raised in Dubai, born in India, Akshita Vibhaka. Akshita, can you join us, please? Thanks very much indeed. Someone who describes himself as not particularly interesting, expat raised, born in South Africa. I've spent time with him today. He is anything but boring. Michael Jansen. Michael, join us, please. A German-born luxury traveller, Max Kramer. Max, join us, please. And finally, the fifth and final member of our panel, the future of the concierge, German-born Robert Klotch. Robert, join us, please. It's wonderful to see all of you here. Thanks very much. You've given me a list of 5 things that you think are really important, and I'm going to start with the first of them. Immediacy. You want things quick. You want service quick. You want things now. You want it when you want it. Max, tell me why you want it and why hotels should give it to you when you want it.
The reason why we chose this first point was that we personally believe that millennials nowadays look for the best. We want the best. We know what we want, and we want it for the cheapest price possibly. So why we say immediacy is because we know our business. Like majority of us, even if we're not studying hospitality, we have some more points that will go into detail. But we go into an hotel and we book a trip, and we know what is expected and what the client or what the hotel has to offer and what we get out of it.
So give me an example, Max, or any of you, no particular order to this question, of something that you want immediately. You want quick service. That you're not getting.
Check-in. When SPG does the app, that you walk straight up to the room, I don't need to go and wait for a room card, I don't need to wait to sign papers, wait for credit card authorizations. I can walk right to the room, swipe my phone against the door, and open the door.
Who here in this room would rather open their hotel room with an app without a conversation, or who would actually quite like to shake a hand, to have a conversation, and have somebody ask us how our flight was? First of all, who'd like the app? Raise your hands. Okay, and on the panel, you're part of this as well. And who here would like someone to say hello, shake our hand, and ask us how our flight was? I'm in that camp.
There's your baby boomers.
There is an age divide here. Okay, so check-in, fine. But that is one small part of the hotel experience. You're going for a 4-day stay. What else do you want quickly? What has to be done immediately that isn't already done immediately? If I want a cup of tea at the Mina Salam across the road here, they're going to bring it to me in as quick as you can possibly make a cup of tea, and that would have been true 10 years ago. What else do you want that's immediate?
Have you guys been to Yo Sushi?
Yes.
Yeah, Yo Sushi. Look, I mean, it looks.
You want the tea on a conveyor belt ready-made?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, okay.
Why not? If it can be quick and I can do it in 15 minutes, then why not?
I think another thing that we all like quick, or at least not necessarily immediately, but when we want it, like Max was saying, was the housekeeping service. You know, we don't need that extensive, luxurious service. You know, just change the towels, change what needs to be done, and let us get on with what we're doing, sort of thing. And so you don't want that part of what is traditionally considered an important piece of the hotel industry and the hotel service to be disrupting what it is you're doing.
So almost less fussy service.
Yeah, less fussy service, definitely. Sort of like a stripping down of, we're not looking for the chocolates on the bed scenario. We just want it to be quick, clean, and then out of the way. Where have you
found that? Because you guys traveled quite a lot. I mean, when I was 21, 22, I didn't do an awful lot of traveling and staying in hotels, but I know you guys do. You've been around, spent a lot of time in Asia and Europe. Where do you think's really getting it right in terms of immediacy? Are there any brands, any hotels, and any places that spring to mind where you've thought, that was pretty good?
The only thing I could come up with that is a new hotel concept that is established in Germany, which is called Motel One. It takes the idea of this immediacy quite well, and it reflects what Ashley just said, that we don't need this big service anymore. It's rather that this hotel concept is you go into the hotel, you pay your bill, for example, you book the room only, you go in, basically you check in, you pay, and then everything is sorted. You don't have any additional charges such as the minibar. So you have your 2-night stay, you pay, you come in, like you check in, you pay, and you leave whenever you like. You don't need any big here and there. You have everything sorted.
What about breakfast, which I know is a big thing? How many hoteliers do we have in the room here, by the way? Many hoteliers? We have people from the industry, but not necessarily hoteliers. I know breakfast is something that the industry is looking at very, very closely. I was on a panel at ATM a couple of days ago with the guys from some of the mid-market hotels. Mark Nogle was there, who runs the mid-scale brands for Hilton. Had the guys from Louvre Hotels, Golden Tulip and Campanile, and they were saying, well, not just them, even the Marriott guys, the idea of having this, massive room that serves this big long buffet, all-you-can-eat breakfast, is in many ways a relic of a bygone era. Maybe it works on American cruise ships, but who else really wants it? What does breakfast mean to you when you're in a hotel?
Coffee and a biscuit.
Okay, grab and go.
Majority of the time, yeah. I mean, look, I was at the panel recently here where I heard them talking specifically on the owner's behalf. I mean, it's a big use of space. It's not necessary. I mean, by 6 in the morning, I mean, it all looks beautiful. You walk in and you're just shocked by the selection and the quality, and it's beautiful. The presentation's fantastic. But by 10 o'clock, I mean, if not maintained perfectly, it can end up being a mess. So why waste the necessity? Just if there's specific people that are looking for something quick and easy, just give coffee and a biscuit and go.
Do you think so? Other thoughts on breakfast? It's being reinvented.
Completely. They know that I'm big on the breakfast thing. That's sort of what.
Actually, I kind of disagree. For a generation that barely knows the advantages of breakfast, we all tend to skip it. Knowing that we go to university, I'd say in a class of 80 people, maybe 15 have actually showed up having breakfast. So knowing that generation between 20 to 30, people don't really take importance upon breakfast. And I think a grab-and-go thing like Michael suggested is something that might actually motivate people to eat something before their day begins. But the big continental spread, not really necessary.
And how do you balance the different needs of you guys? Some want grab and go, some want to have a more leisurely breakfast, get some proper nutrition in. How do you balance that as a hotelier? How would you balance that as a hotelier?
I think the best thing is, for example, that maybe on an app or something, people can sort of say what they want, etc., and then they get exactly what they actually desire, rather than me going into a buffet and I only eat 2 of the things, of the 1,000 things that are offered, while another person might want more choice, etc. I think the best is, like maybe the day before, people put what they want and they get exactly what they need, so they don't need to waste anything, but still everyone has what they desire. Because I think especially our generation, we know what we want. We don't walk into the room of the big buffet and browse around, but we know exactly what we want. Even if there's 1,000 things on offer, we go and take what we anyways take.
Whenever the discussions are had about millennials, nothing to do with the hospitality industry, whether it's media consumption habits, my medium, or the way we consume music, it's a difficult question is, to what extent are millennials just young, and young people have always had different wants, desires, needs to older people, and that when you are my age, 44, your habits and needs and desires and tastes will have evolved, and in another 22 years when you're 66, they will have evolved. And that's simply the aging process. Your habits, needs and desires are different now than they were 10 years ago. This is just growing up. And to what extent is it a fundamentally generational shift that you have these different, unique habits and needs and desires that will stay with your generation forever? I mean, there is no right and wrong answer, but I'd be interested to know your perspectives on that.
If I can speak, I think our generation is getting quite spoiled over the years, and I think this will kind of reflect like what I mean is what I mean is that hotels nowadays, they focus on our generation, and they're trying to target our generation, and especially, for example, here in Dubai, it is quite common and quite known that if you are a complainer, you get what you need. Like, okay. It is a typical thing here in Dubai, and I think that with so much competition and with so many hotel chains and the big brands trying to get us on their side and to make us their loyal customer, we kind of slowly starting to misuse it, kind of according to the like, if you don't give me what I expect or what I want, I just go 200 meters across the street and I stay with your competitor. So it's like we kind of start getting spoiled. That's my opinion.
Number 2 on your list is you want an experience that you can boast about on social media. Tell us about this one, Robert.
Yeah, I think especially nowadays, what's important about people, I don't know, going to a certain restaurant, staying at a certain hotel, is that especially with platforms like Instagram, etc., coming up, they want to actually make themselves look better. And we all have a big ego, but especially now with the internet becoming bigger and bigger, it's even a bigger platform for people to showcase what they have, what they can do, where they are, etc. And I think especially there, the hotels can actually do a lot. I mean, we see it, people post a picture on Instagram and they tag the hotel, but not because they want the hotel to know what they did, but because they want the hotel to repost the picture or to comment, because it makes consumers like us feel happy. It's not just that the hotel has to obviously offer a good experience while you're in the hotel. What we want is that before the stay or after the stay, they sort of engage with us on social media. They comment, or they say, I don't know, we're looking forward to meeting you, or when you arrive in the hotel, you have something customized that you can post about. And what I think is important, that with so many different platforms coming up, that we sort of separated. We have on the one side things like TripAdvisor, Twitter, Facebook, etc., where people tend to put their honest opinion down, and then on the other hand, we have something like Instagram, where even if you go to an average restaurant, you try to make things look nice to post it. And I mean, I think most of us can agree that how often we've seen places that look incredible on Instagram, we go there, and in reality, it's kind of average.
It's certainly a lesson for hotel designers like us to create the kind of vignettes that are going to make you want to take a picture and post, like the, I don't know, the fountain outside the Burj Al Arab or whatever. I mean, I guess it's your classic, it's your tick the box type photo. That we need to create these vignettes because they are Instagram friendly.
It was a point that Robert made earlier this afternoon that we were talking about, specifically. If it's a marketing campaign like Ritz-Carlton have done on Instagram, Ritz-Carlton's Instagram page, they're reposting things that people have taken pictures of. But these pictures, they are as they seem. You know, you go to that spot. If you go to that resort where that picture was taken and reposted, you go to that resort, you can take the exact same picture. And if you can do it in such a way that it is sort of honest and not hyper-realistic and it's blown out of proportion, if it's a realistic image and an experience that people are going to feel when they go there, then it can be changed and it can be recommended. And
so give me an example then of one of 2 things. Either an Instagram photo or Snapchat post or whatever in a hospitality venue, restaurant or a hotel or whatever, that you've posted on your social media and has had lots of likes and has had that, not quite gone viral, but got a lot of resonance, or one that you've seen on your friend's social media that they've done. What are the kind of things, just think about it now and crunch it in your brain, what works well in your social circle, social media?
I mean, obviously things like when people go to a restaurant, they don't just take the picture of the food. Everything has to be nicely arranged before. And this is...
But can you give me a specific example? Can you give me a venue? Can you say, I don't know, Zuma?
I mean, it's happening everywhere. We see it on most of the hotel companies or restaurants. They even invite influential people who are influential on Instagram, and we have to see that nowadays these people became the new celebrities. They have 1 million, 2 million followers, etc. And the places invite these people, and obviously everything is nicely arranged, and it projects as a reality that in fact is not true. And we see these things.
But what I'm trying to get at is, because the point you're saying, this is your wish list. What we want from hotels is X, Y, Z, and what you're saying you want is somewhere that will make us look good on social media that we can post to. So where's doing that well?
Burj Al Arab.
Burj Al Arab.
Burj Al Arab.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was an event where we, as students at the Emirates Academy, we hosted the Eurocre,
Yeah.
which is the conference which involves all the hotel schools from around the world. And there was a specific reception, a dinner at one of the restaurants outside Jumeirah Beach Hotel. It's on the beach. And everything went dark. And they said, okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And as soon as they said 1, Burj Al Arab had just been lit up with the conference logo.
Okay.
So, of course, all the millennials, all of us, everyone else is like, oh, wow, that's pretty cool. All of us. Like
And
this.
so it's being photogenic, not just in terms of the the fixed asset, creating a photogenic hotel that will have an enduring photogenicness, but creating moments and pop-up things, whether it's playing with light, whether it's playing with water, installation, sculpture, whatever it may be, that will constantly sort of reinvent photogenic moments.
Yeah, I definitely think that's the case. We're looking, I think, as a generation for an experience, for a story. You know, you don't post a photo of nice flowers because they look nice. You post it because you've been given it upon your welcome. As you've gotten out of the car, the bellboys have come and gotten your luggage, and someone's come up to you and greeted you personally and handed you a card with a bouquet of flowers. And that's what you share. You're not sharing the physical aspect of the nice lobby or the flowers. You're sharing the story that, you know, someone's personally cared about me, and they've gone that extra mile, and that was fantastic for me, and now I want to share it with you. And as we've mentioned, we millennials do tend to have quite the ego, and so they want their friends to see that, like, look, I'm special. I've been treated in such a way, and that resonates really well with us, and to be honest, can create significant brand loyalty, I would say.
Maybe just to give a personal example, it can be even small things. For example, I stayed a few weeks ago in the Mandarin Oriental in Bangkok.
You do like luxury travel,
I do
don't you?
like.
How old are you?
21. I have to say I'm a little bit lucky.
Anyone else stayed at the Mandarin Oriental? I've never stayed in any Mandarin Oriental. Yeah, well done.
And you get greeted.
It's not normal, even by our standards. Sorry.
He's in a league of his own.
You're the six-figure millennials that were spoken about earlier.
And when you get greeted, you get these little flower rings that are self-made, and obviously I was traveling with my girlfriend. She took straight away the picture and posted it, and it's these small things, but they leave an impression that lasts quite long.
We're talking about hotels here and hospitality, but maybe it won't be hotels you're staying in. One of the points you've raised is Airbnb and vacation rentals, VRBO. This is a big part of your world, isn't it? Tell me about that.
I think majority, for me personally, and for you, the serial experience seeker, price sensitivity can be an issue because we are young. I mean, when I was young, I was fortunate enough to travel with my parents, but pretty soon I'm going to have to travel on my own budget, which is going to be painful, and then I don't want to spend all of my money, particularly on 2 weeks in a hotel. I'd rather spend a little bit less, maybe, and stay in somewhere a little bit more authentic, a little bit more unique to that local place. That give me a bit of a budget to experience the rest of the place.
I think to add on to what Michael's saying and what Ashley said earlier, with regards to taking pictures, it's not so much what you're capturing, but the story that you're capturing. And connecting that to what he said, we were all at Rove downtown yesterday, at least most of us were. And the idea of that place was that people aren't looking so much to visit a destination. It's not, oh, I was in Dubai. It's more so, I stayed at a hotel that connected me to the culture of Dubai. So in terms of that, Rove downtown itself is a very, affordable place. Two, it sort of connects you to what the culture was. There's little decals on the floor. There was that immediate service that we spoke about. You need something, you just go to the little grocery downstairs, you do your own laundry, have your concierge app. So it connects that immediacy that we spoke of, and more so the fact that it's not the destination you're visiting, but that experience and the culture you're connected to, because we have a thirst for knowledge. We have a thirst for knowledge to the location we're going to, and why not begin at the hotel that we're staying at?
So that Rove Hotel or hotels like it, and a Mama Shelter or whatever it is, they're a lot cheaper than the Mandarin Oriental. They're probably comparable with an Airbnb, and they can compete on price. Okay, you get a smaller room, but maybe would you spend 2 weeks in a hotel? I don't know, but they can compete, can they? I guess that's what you're looking for.
Speaking about Rove specifically, there was the session where Peter Haag was presenting Rove, just in the room next door yesterday. The second he came off, I went to him immediately and I said, stuff that we want to talk about on this next generation panel, you've nailed it. Like Rove, brilliant.
But I think to add, like, we are maybe price sensitive, but at least from my perspective, maybe it's a little bit different than from the others.
You have lost the right to talk about price
I'm
sensitivity.
sorry. but in talking about the Mandarin Oriental and Bangkok, what we are looking for is value. I agree the Mandarin Oriental might be a little bit extraordinary, but for example, I have to say I've stayed in quite good hotels all over the world, and they could be considered as the best in their country. But what surprised me, for example, in the Mandarin Oriental is you enter the hotel and the person that stands at the elevator, the security guard, sees you approaching and he knows on which floor you are. You go to your floor and you have the butlers there that you've never seen in your life, but they all know your name. So after staying there, I have to say I'm willing to pay that price if I can afford it, because the value that was given to me is extraordinary. Like, for example, I stayed in Burj Arab and that was not the case that I was approached with my name. And these are the small little difference that gives me the extra value that makes it worth it to spend that kind of money.
Robert, you made a point
Yeah,
about
I think especially people in our age, obviously we want experiences like this, but as we have a limited budget, what a lot of people do is they see, for example, if they're traveling, they don't stay 2 weeks in the most expensive hotels, but what they might do is for a week they have an Airbnb because they know, oh, during this time I might visit the city a lot, etc. But if we are still aware of like high-end products, etc. So what people in our age might do is we just do 2 nights in this place to at least like fully experience it.
I'm going to finish by asking each of you if you could name a dream hotel brand that you would like your first job to be at, what would it be? In a second. First of all, though, the last of your points is you want it done our way, customization. What do you mean by that?
It's going to sound not good for my ego, but in class the other day, we discussed this concept called prosumers. And you can either see it as a professional consumer, which I think millennials are turning into. They're used to the products, they know what the products are, and they know what the good and bad points of them are. So they know when a service isn't being done well. Regarding personalization, you've got producer consumers. You've got people that want to customize their stay.
Right.
There was a video about a hotel brand being developed by Virgin where you can customize the items in your room. You can customize a design. You can customize the type of furniture. It's stuff like, it's little things like that you know, we love, our egos love this idea that everything's a little bit special for us, like it's done exactly. Like Nike does it for the shoes. You can buy football boots with your name on it. If you can customize something and it's a little bit special, made specifically for you, it's fun.
Fascinating discussion. I am going to now ask you which hotel brand, if any, if you could dream of one. We got a question?
To ask some questions.
Yeah. I'm going to ask their brands and I'm going to throw it over to the audience, yeah. Which hotel brand would you love to work for?
Mandarin Oriental, surprisingly.
You're consistent?
Right now, Emaar Rove.
Emaar Rove?
Yeah. Marriott Ritz-Carlton.
Ritz-Carlton?
I'm over here with this one, either Mandarin Oriental or Four Seasons.
Okay, upmarket. And you?
I wouldn't choose any of the big hotel companies, maybe like an independent boutique hotel, something in that sort of direction.
I like that answer. We've got time for a few questions. We've got time for a number of questions, in fact. Yes, please.
Okay. Do you mind if I ask a few questions? I've got 3 questions, actually.
Go for it.
You're the boss. You can have 10.
Okay, perfect. The first one, a quick one. Who was doing Instagram last night?
I was doing
At the
Twitter.
Rove. Or Twitter?
Yes, Twitter.
Okay. You were all doing it?
Yeah.
So you were spending your time doing Twitter when actually the purpose of that reception last night was to network.
I did that too. I'm a good
Did you?
multitasker.
Another thing we millennials are quite talented at.
Okay. Not the guys.
Second question. We had Dr. Graham Codrington speaking, and he was speaking about Oculus technology and AV and everything else. And do you think that's a concern for what we're doing for you guys in the future? Actually, will you even bother coming to a conference when you can just hook in and, plug in your 3D glasses and do the conference that way?
That depends. Is it going to be somewhere that we haven't been before?
I would still go because I was taught, at least in my upbringing, that personal contact is very important, and especially connected to it, like the networking. It's always easy to just switch on the screen and then watch the people talk and to write down your notes or whatever. But I think, in my opinion, there's a different story. If you go there yourself, you see the people around you, you see how the people act in real life, you have the opportunity to talk to them afterwards. I personally would still do that. Doesn't matter what the media or what technology would offer.
Good. I think we still have a business then. That's great. Okay. And my third question is the environment. This is a huge issue, particularly for your generation, you know, in the next 50 years. Are you engaging with that? Are you looking at the new technologies that we need to develop and create these hotels of the future?
I think that it's definitely something that millennials are considering, especially with our the choices of hotels with which we stay, the brands with which we associate. We look for some sort of CSR program or some degree of sustainability. You know, it always comforts me when I see the cards in the hotel rooms that say, if you leave your towels in a certain place, then we'll take them from you, and if not, we'll leave them because we don't want to be wasting those resources. And it's just the little things that they can do that indicate to you that there is a concern for the environment and development towards some sort of sustainable future for travel, because ultimately, as more of us are traveling, it becomes an issue. Sustainability becomes more of an issue, and something that I think all hotel brands need to look at, especially as it is relevant to millennials.
I think that to be completely honest, I'm a terrible person, and I'm not very aware of environmental problems, and I don't like I'm a very busy millennial mind, and I know that it's an issue, and I know that businesses and products and the things that we use in daily life are going to adjust anyway because it's a need. The fact that look, if Leonardo DiCaprio is talking, we're going to listen, and he's telling us that the environment's a problem, so we're listening. Businesses, products. I mean, there's products in packaging now made out of mushrooms. There's a mushroom thing that develops into a secure packaging for a computer. Business and products will develop anyway, regardless of whether we want them to, because it's necessary.
We'll take a couple more comments or questions from the floor for our millennial panel. Then I've got a couple of questions for the audience. Anyone got a comment or question for the panel? My question to you, who's in the hiring business? Okay. Who's got some kind of hiring power? There's a few people here. Yeah, okay. I'm going to ask you, can we get a microphone to these people? This is what they want. Fine. What would be your advice to them if they want to get hired by an A-list employer of choice when they graduate from the academy?
I mean, there are so many trainings that us people who are in the hiring business, you know, undertake in regards to millennials, like how to market the company to millennials, how to talk to them, how to interview them. It just sometimes seems like, okay, this is the smartest generation ever, you know, like sometimes you just don't feel, you know, confident enough, you know, that you could be like even managing, you know, those people. So it's just like mind-boggling.
I told you I wanted to punch them.
Yeah, you know, sometimes you just want to punch them, you know, for being so smart. But yeah, great crowd.
And any other tips to our panel in terms of getting hired into this industry with the A-list employers of choice? Anyone else in the hiring business who's got some tips? Sir? Yep, thank you. Oh, here we go. Thank you.
I actually disagree with what you just said there. I think the smarter, the better they make us look. So the more information, the new information you can bring into the business is even better. I think as a tip, if there is a particular brand that you associate the most with, go and apply for those specific brands and really understand what makes them tick. So for EMAR, whether it's Rove, understanding that generation, whether it's the high-end luxury, Four Seasons and the Mandarins of the world, you know, that's a different mindset. So when you're interviewing, think like them to answer the questions.
Yes, sir. You were kind enough to offer a comment or question.
I think for me, the overriding is we've got to pay, obviously, a great amount of attention to what the millennials are doing and their approach to working life moving forward. And I think we're always looking for solutions that are faster, cheaper, better. But at the end of the day, let's not lose sight of the human contact. So much business is still done in person. So I think it's great. You know, I have an 18-year-old daughter who has permanently got her head down into social media, and we're fighting to come out from that and engage on the human scale. So I think the biggest thing is not to lose sight of the human scale, particularly in this world and industry that we all work in of hospitality.
We're going to wrap it up there. It's been a fascinating discussion. My thanks to our panelists today for facing the music in no particular order. To Ashley Carroll, thanks very much indeed. To Akshita Vibhaka, really appreciate your time. Michael Jansen, is he boring or a really interesting bloke? Who thinks he's boring? He said he was boring. Who thinks he's an interesting bloke? I think he's really interesting. You're really interesting, Michael. Thank you very much.
That's good for my millennial ego. Thank you.
Max Kramer, thanks very much indeed. And also to Robert Klopsch, the future of the concierge. We didn't even get to that subject, fascinating though it is. Thank you very much indeed for your time. I really appreciate it. Go and take a seat now. Unconventional, boring, middle-aged chairs.
Thank you, Richard. Thank you.
Thanks very much indeed. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks for your time. Thanks, Ashley. Cheers, Robert.